Hey, welcome back. This is season 2 of the Performance Physique podcast. If you're joining us on YouTube, this is Friday Night Track Club TV, and we are starting the second season with a guest. We're joined by Phil Taylor, my former training partner, a fitness professional in his own right. Phil and I discuss loads of things around the athlete and the winning mindset. We touch on the last dance as well, and we basically relive our journey as trying to be decathletes several years ago. It's a great episode. It's a brilliant start to season 2. Please take a watch or listen to this podcast all the way through. Remember, you can find us on Instagram, it's performance_physique, or on Facebook, just type in performance physique. And please share this message with as many people as possible.
I'm a natural tangenter. Well, not that I like to, I just always spin off into other thought processes.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Performance Physique podcast. Today I am being joined by a very special guest, a special friend of mine, Phil Taylor. Phil is joining us and he is going to be talking about a variety of subjects, including our history in decathlon, how he's seen the training environment change over several years. It is still a pandemic. So Phil, first of all, thank you very much for joining us.
Hello, sir.
Where are you sat at the moment? You're not in New York, are you?
I'm not in New York, no. Sorry, Alexa just decided to pop up. Sorry.
Mine did as well. Just
no, I'm not in New York. I'm in Bethnal Green. Lovely Bethnal Green in London. Very similar, yeah.
So thank you very much for joining us today, Phil. First things first, you're safe, you're well, which is good. You have had coronavirus, though.
That's not official. That's just hearsay. You heard it from me, but it's still hearsay.
It's not official, but you've been unwell, but you're well now, yeah?
Yeah, I showed a lot of the symptoms. This was like 3 months ago. Just before lockdown.
Phil is the owner and... Said that weird, didn't I? Phil is the owner and founder of Vital Movement. Phil and I actually went to college way back 15 years ago.
Oh, a long time ago.
Yeah, 15 years ago we went to college together. We had one short meeting prior to that, which was on a wooden basketball court, which would have been...
Before college?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean when we played Arden versus Tudor Grade? Yeah, we definitely won. Was that the year that we won the Solihull Championship? Yeah, probably.
Probably. How many teams were in the Solihull Championship?
At least 4.
So we made the quarterfinal. We made the semi-finals at least.
But probably more. No, there must have been 6 or 8.
Oh, it's massive then.
Can you name them?
I reckon so. I reckon Arden, that's the current holders. Tudor Grange, Lighthall, Lode Heath, Alderbrook, and St Peters.
Yeah, Alderbrook definitely. Yeah, St Peters, Heart of England were definitely.
Oh yeah, Mark.
I think we even played the final at Heart of England.
I love the way you're building this up. The final
at the Heart of England Stadium.
You're an international listener or watcher. It's not like the Heart of England. It's not a major competition or anything.
There must have been one more team. 7 teams seems a bit odd.
There's
Lode Heath School or something.
I've already said Lode Heath.
Yeah, okay. We'll take it as 7. Massive tournament.
A big tournament where we played on like 9-foot rims on like weird wooden flooring in certain schools. So there's a little bit of a background. After that, Phil and I went to college together, as we said, and stayed in touch. And we're going to talk about this shortly after, but we founded a project. I'm going to give Phil more credit for this project called Dream.
Please don't.
It's definitely Phil's baby, called Dream Decathlon. and we will talk about Dream Decathlon shortly. But first of all, Phil, I'd like to hand over to you. Give us a background, give us your origin story, because I love that word.
My origin story. So I was once just walking through a museum, and I got bitten by a spider. And then suddenly I could just climb up buildings without ladders and things. It was incredible. And shoot webs from my. Now, the classy basketball player knows he can dunk, but chooses not to.
Oh, you choose not to rebound either.
Yeah. So I've always played sport. At school, I played every sport. I used to think it was because I felt like I was naturally good at sport. I just liked doing things that that I was good at. But I actually don't think that was true. I think actually I chose to start playing basketball because I was playing football. I was an okay footballer, but I was never the best footballer. And I got bored, and then I played some basketball, and I wasn't very good at basketball. In fact, I was the worst person on the court back when we were 14, 15. So, and that was kind of where that made me realize that I actually liked something I wasn't good at. I like things I'm not good at, and then I like learning and becoming better at them. Not amazing, but becoming better. So I like starting new things and learning what the journey is to get better at them, and then doing it, getting better, and then going, oh yeah, that was pretty good. That was a good journey. What's the next thing? That's really, why
really interesting. That is.
I guess you would these days they call it a growth mindset, which I think I have. I'm gonna self-diagnose myself with a growth mindset. Yeah, I just like to know how things work, how things are done, what it takes to do something I couldn't do before. A prime example, when I was at university, I just decided I wanted to learn how to handstand for no other reason. And I was like, well, how is it even possible that you stand on your hands? Like, I can't do it now. How would you even learn to do that? But when you're a baby, you learn to stand on your feet. So it must be a similar process, just as a 20-year-old. So yeah, I always like things I don't know and I can't do. So I think that's why I genuinely liked playing sport. And obviously I like getting better at it. When you see the results, like when I was a kid and I was playing football, I must have felt like, oh, I'm getting better at this. I'm now dribbling the ball and shooting and scoring, and then followed it because of that. It's when I'm not progressing, I tend to go off things. Not that I don't feel like I'm succeeding, but actually just progressing.
Yeah. So that takes you up to university. What did you study at university?
So I studied sports science at University of Leeds. Nice. Played basketball all the way through. And actually, in fact, I probably said this to you at the time. I didn't really know what to study at university. So I just thought I'd choose something that I was interested in and wanted to learn more of. But really, I wanted to go to university to play sport. So I wanted to play
college ball.
Play proper college ball, yeah. So but I actually didn't make the team in the first. So we went to trials. You do the trials, didn't make the team. In fact, me and Will Brown, we didn't make the team in trials, which I guess I didn't. We weren't deterred. We were like, oh, we just didn't make the team. We weren't good enough. And then we just naturally thought, well, we'll just get better, and then we'll just make the team. And when we're better, we played we went to scrimmage so they had these open scrimmages for people who weren't on the team. We went to them for 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, I think I threw up an alley-oop to Will when we were playing against some of the team members. And they were just like, yes, you guys should come to practice.
Classic ticket.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't even do anything.
Did you literally just watch a load of 90s hip hop and basketball videos and movies and just like, oh, that's how they became the popular kid, or that's how they got access to the team?
I like to think that at trials we were both absolutely awesome, like sick handles, shooting was amazing, but the people that were choosing the team just didn't see any dunks, so didn't select us. So yeah, we made it in 2 weeks, and then I went on to actually be club captain in my final year. I wouldn't say I was an amazing basketball player. I just love I just love playing, getting better.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember when you were finishing your third year, and we used to basically always miss each other in Leeds, because you were obviously in Leeds and my family lived up there. And I'd always try and get in touch with each other when we're free, etc. And I remember in third year, you were getting ready to finish, or maybe had a couple of months left. I even remember stood looking out of the window of my flat at the time, and you basically phoning me and saying, "Oh, what do you think about personal training then? You know, what would you do setting up your business?" All that kind of stuff. At the time, I was managing a gym, and you took it from that point. I distinctly always think this, and now you've just said about your growth mindset, I think that actually completely is your tagline, because you took it from setting up a PT business to building a whole kind of fitness concept. Really, Vital Movement, I think, was more than just having a PT business at the time that you were doing it. The kind of stuff you were trying to do is definitely a little bit ahead. So you leave university, try and get a job, or just think?
No, so actually, my thought process was, so I did level 2 gym instructing at university. It was part of, I think, one of our tutorial modules. We had to do courses, so I did that because I think I started going to the gym with you actually before. So I managed to convince, when I was 15, I managed to convince my dad to buy like a multi gym, and I went halves in, because we were both going to share it, but he actually never used it, and I used it constantly. And I actually wanted to train I wanted to get better at basketball.
Jump soles.
I never bought jump soles. I did Air Alert 3.
Yes, that was it.
I did Air Alert 3. I did it. I actually did it for the whole time. And I was on holiday in Greece. I remember doing it on this first story apartment. It was like 35 degrees. And I was like, no, I'm going to keep doing this because I don't want to stop the training. I think it was really good. I learned why it was really good later on. But I think it really helped me.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get into gym training to get better at basketball. But the only gym books I'd read were all about bodybuilding. So I just thought that gym training was bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And that to get better at a sport, it's just gym training. So as a 15-year-old, I made this connection of like, I need to train in the gym to be better at the sport. I'm going to learn about training in a gym. And everything I learned about and read was just all from like bodybuilding. It was all isolating muscles, and you need to work this muscle and that muscle. So that's where I started my gym training. But when I got to university, I got really into it again for my basketball, but it was still just bodybuilding stuff. I threw a few more of the compounds in, but still tended to stay away from deadlifts and squats because I was playing basketball. So why would I train legs? It's actually one of the things I used to think.
Why did you think that? I don't remember you thinking that.
It was just because I was playing basketball like, I don't know, 5-6 times a week. So anything I did in between that, I was going to complement my basketball, but I didn't want it to get in the way of my basketball. So I thought that if I trained legs, it was going to get in the way of me playing, and all of my leg training for balancing my body was going to come from basketball. That's just how I thought. I didn't spend. I probably went 2 or 3 times a week, so it wasn't in the gym a lot. It was a classic. I'm going to do chest and tris, back and bis, and shoulders, and then maybe do some abs in there. And the 4th session would have been legs, but I didn't do a 4th session because I was playing basketball.
Oh, we missed out. We ran out of time.
Yeah. So that was just how I used to think about training. But yeah, so I actually did gym level 2 at university because I had to do it for my course, and I liked gym training. And when I left university, I hadn't got a clue what I was going to do. And I wanted to work at a gym because I wanted free gym membership.
Best way. That's literally
that was the only reason. And I was like, okay, well, I can work in a gym at level 2. That's fine. I don't mind as long as I can use the gym. And then I found out that I could get level 3 because I have a degree in sports science. It was just this massive form you have to fill out for reps. Which actually took me a long time to fill out. So I'm glad they did give it to me in the end. And then I got level 3. So I was like, I may as well go in level 3 and be a PT. So I went to I joined Fitness First and Solihull. Well, I applied. My first interview, in fact, my only interview, that was the first time I ever trained someone. It was the fitness manager that hired me. So it was the first session I'd ever trained like someone without training with them. I'd never trained anyone before. That was the first time. And then afterwards, he was like, "Yeah, that was great. Come and work here." I was like, "Yes, I got myself a job." And he turns around and says, "Oh yeah, but you need to pay us £400 a month to work here." I was like, "What? What do you mean? That's the most expensive gym membership I've ever heard of." I came for a job in the gym for free gym membership, and I ended up paying 10 times as much. But no, yeah, it got me into thinking, okay, well, I'm going to set up a business here. It was actually a very good system that Fitness First have, where you have a sliding scale. So you kind of built your client base up before you start paying. I really appreciate the work that they did.
Just to confirm, you're not trying to get a Fitness First endorsement here or something?
Oh, no. I just generally appreciated the work that they did. I think they actually cared. They actually cared about me as a trainer because I was going to give them money. They understood that. Whereas a lot of places I went to and spoke to, and even after that, when I was moving to London, it still felt like I wasn't going to get any help. I just had to go in. If it didn't work, they had so many other PTs waiting. They just bring me in. But it felt like Fitness First understood that if they helped me, I was going to be in there for 3 months. If I didn't leave, then I had to bring someone else in for 3 months. So it was like it felt like a partnership with Fitness First.
Oh, that's really good to hear.
Yeah, which was good. I enjoyed it. But yeah, that's how I got into PTing. And that's when I started thinking about exercise a bit more than just, basketball's legs, bodybuilding's upper body.
Did you used to come along after Friday night basketball to the gym in Luke?
That was my first experience of a proper gym, not just training in my utility room at home.
I barely remember that, but just as you said,
I remember about two sessions, in that Spit and Stardust Norman Green gym.
Yeah, good times, really good times.
Yeah, it was good training.
So you've had this introduction to training fitness. You start your own business, Vital Movement. Because
I wanted a gym membership, yeah.
Really wants to kind of dig in that point. I remember you going off. I think you set up in Birmingham first, didn't you, before Dream Decathlon started? Is that right?
Trying to think of the timelines. No, I don't think so, actually. I think it was very closely tied together. It was very close. I think Dream Decathlon came first.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
So 2012 comes along. 2012 London Olympics, obviously in the UK, massive deal. There's a lot of people kind of being posterized for it, particularly Jessica Ennis-Hill. Wasn't Hill at that point, but there's a big emphasis on elite sport. A few of my friends are competing. I remember being sat talking to a friend during So I remember being sat in the build-up. So I was working at Loughborough University, coaching at the time. It's summer, just before London 2012. I'm coaching at Loughborough on my lunch break. So I'm sat in my car outside. What building was it? I think it might have been, it makes sense actually to be outside of the High Performance Centre, because I remember you phoned me whilst I'm eating my sandwiches, and then like 6 giants walked past me in GB gear, and it's the bobsleigh team. And I remember thinking, it's really weird that the bobsleigh team are training here because it was a holding camp for the Summer Olympics. And I was like, really weird the bobsleigh team are here, unless they've moved bobsleigh to Summer Olympics. But and then you go, Arj, I've run the numbers. I remember thinking, run the numbers? What's he talking about? Run the numbers. What do you think about me or someone doing the decathlon?
I don't think I even said me at this point.
Did you not? It's someone.
I think there's a possibility of it happening.
Someone doing the decathlon in 4 years. I don't remember my exact words, but it was something along the lines of impossible, or that's ridiculous, or you're an idiot. I know it's you. But it was something along those lines. And then you like, hear me out. And I remember you going through stuff and me being like, yeah, I really don't think it's possible, but it's interesting. In fairness, you know, some of the stuff makes sense of what you've just said. But maybe let's just meet up. And we met up. I remember we went to the high jump bed and we got that photo of you like crashing your neck on the mat, on the bed. And I think it was after that very first session, me just being like,
Yeah,
I think I'd quite like to join in.
Actually. Yeah, I've just remembered this. Yeah, you weren't on board at all. I remember coming to see you. I was like, oh, I just want to see how difficult all this stuff is. Because you watch it on TV, but you watch the athletes and you're like, this is it's pretty tough. And actually, I just wanted to feel what it would take to kind of to learn the high jump and learn the long jump and actually run 100 meters, because I hadn't done that for a long time. And that was it. It was like, well, how plausible is it in 4 years? I mean, we now know it's impossible because we didn't. Well, it's not impossible
because we didn't do it. It's impossible.
It's not impossible. It wasn't possible for us to do it. Whether that was mindset, bodies, training techniques, whatever we did.
Loads of different things.
Life gets in the way. I remember thinking that life was probably going to be the biggest thing.
I do remember you actually stating that after our first year of training for it.
I mean, any athlete, any successful athlete, you see them and they've got a really stable foundation. Well, from what I know, there's probably lots that when they're getting to they've got this direction. They go, yes, I want to be this one person. And everyone around them is like, yeah, okay, this is what it's going to do. And they like life is just supporting them into it, or they choose life to support them. So either our lives didn't mold around it well enough, or I think I just made choices that took me away from it.
I think both of us did. I definitely, because like to fill the gaps, thinking, I can coach you a couple of areas here. 10-1 session. This seems quite fun, actually. Maybe we should just do this. Get quite carried away, and I want to get involved. And then,
and actually, you know what? I should talk about my my thought process here with why, because I still think it's possible in the right circumstances and the right coaches. I think we probably didn't seek out external help enough because we thought, I particularly thought I knew loads about training. And even at the time, I've always been open-minded to training. I always knew that I didn't know enough about training, but I still wanted to try my techniques out over other people's tried and tested techniques. Yeah. It was kind of part of why we were doing it in the first place. So I was like, I think I can get there doing this. It didn't work, or it didn't work fast enough or in the right way. But the thought process was that we were 23, 24. 23, at the time. We were obviously super inspired. I was super inspired by watching at 2012. I was like, that looks good. I want to get to this level. This is probably the last chance I can think about getting to this level. I mean, back when I started playing basketball, you think, you have to think about what the top point is. I want to play in the NBA. Yeah, of course I want to play in the NBA. But I didn't actually think about how I was going to get there and plan out and go, right, well, I'm going to train like this, and this all the time to get there. It was just like, I'd love to play in the NBA, of course. I'm just going to get better. But you don't need a plan to play in the NBA. It would just happen because I'm so good. I would just be shooting on my driveway and some guy would drive past in his car, make a phone call and go, yes, I found the next Michael Jordan. It's this kid from Solihull on his driveway. That's how I thought it was going to happen. That's
another 90s movie, right?
Yeah. So I was like, actually, no, well, this is the best time. I'm going to think, right, we're going to plan it out. Is it possible to do it? I think that if I'd known at 16 that you need to have an 8-year plan of like not knowing exactly what you're going to do each day of training, but knowing how much you're going to train and to what specific thing, then I think we would have done it, because you spend 4 years on it as a 16-year-old, you become you're 20 years old then, and you're pretty good, but you're not the best or amazing. It's easier to commit to. But when you're 24 and you spend 2 years doing something and you get okay at it, you get okay and you get maybe good. I think we became good sprinters.
I think you did.
for decathletes, we became good sprinters. Like we became good. And then it was like, right, well, the next 2 years we've got to become great. Is it possible to do? Not sure. We've got to commit to the next 2 years of our lives to do it when we're not sure about. And it means if we do this for 2 years, it means we're going to miss out on, I don't know, all of these other opportunities that are presented to us. And the other opportunities are probably the easier decision to make. But are more sensible. So we made them.
Yeah. I do think it was interesting, like what you've just said there. Like I look back on it and I think I would have made a lot of different coaching decisions.
Yeah.
I remember writing a 1-year periodization, and when did I start lecturing? 2 years. So 2 years later, I start lecturing, and I'm like preaching the requirement for a 4-year annual program. I'm like, 2 years ago, why did I only write a single year at a time? That makes no sense whatsoever. So that definitely correlates with what you said.
Is that? Do you think that's because you knew it should have been 4 years, but you didn't want to commit and write a 4-year plan?
Interesting, actually. Maybe.
Because we were kind of just, I guess we were, well, I was definitely taking a year at a time, because we set ourselves that first year, we were like, well, we need to hit these targets. I think we hit them mostly, and we're like, well, we did this, so we must be, and we knew we were going to get the newbie gains, and we hit them. And then it was like, right, the second year we need to hit these targets, which is probably when we slipped down, injuries crept in. And then we realized
it's 18 months into it, isn't it? I didn't make any further than 18 months.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, you're right.
12 months, nailed that first year. I remember thinking, man, actually, Phil's not, I mean, Phil is still an idiot, but Phil's not a complete idiot. Quit my job.
Yeah.
Good corporate job, working for the man. And I remember quitting that, and then 3 months after quitting, rupturing my Achilles, and that was that. And being like, it's quite nice driving an Audi and having a phone and all of those things.
And spare change.
Yeah. But I know you're saying about like some of those things we did wrong, and definitely 100% I would have, now going back at it, like I look at so many things like I would have done differently. But one of the principles I think we nailed and we did do right then, I just don't think we necessarily applied those principles enough, was that the emphasis we put on to speed and power training.
Yeah.
We immediately acknowledged that speed here is the most critical thing. Power is a component of speed, and therefore how many of these events are going to rely on it? What can we do? Okay, we need to save some time. We're going to do the mile as part of broken mile as our warm up and cool down. And that's how we'll train for the 1500, but it doesn't matter. We don't train for the 1500, we train everything else.
Well, I guess, and that kind of leads nicely into why we chose the decathlon, because you say decathlon, you go, right, I'm going to start a sport from scratch at 24, and I'm going to try and become elite within 4 years. You'd think, well, choose something that's kind of one dimensional or not. Not with 10. It doesn't, like, initially it doesn't make sense, because you're like, well, you've just given yourself 10 more things to work out. But from what you're saying there, actually you're grouping it up into, well, you just got to be a really fast runner, and you've got to be explosive, which you need to be a fast runner. You've got to be explosive. You've got to translate that speed into jumping for at least 3 of the events. And then when you're throwing, you just have to be able to translate your leg speed and power, speed, strength, power into launching an object from your body. So actually the foundation was, like you said, strength, power, and speed. And also the speed. I think the speed is a combination. It's like you have to get really good at the skill. Like you've either got really fast muscles, or you've got a super like fine-tuned skill. Or both. And it seemed
we had both, right?
And we're probably right. I'm probably right in thinking this now, that muscle, speed, strength, and power you can train for a lot faster than a skill. Like a skill takes, there's all this 10,000 hours, 10,000 times is thrown around probably too much, because I think it's
not that. But you're right.
It takes a long time, and we didn't have a long time. I had 4 years, so we couldn't become elite at a skill. Like we couldn't become an elite runner because we just didn't have enough repetitions that we could have done. It was physically impossible in the time we had to do enough repetitions to become very good at it. But we could become okay at the skill and become really strong and really powerful. And then the skill just has to translate that enough to get some results across the 10 events. And that was the thought process. It was like, well, we're not going to get really good at 10 events. We're going to get really strong and powerful legs, and mobile legs, which I think we both struggled with. And then we just need to learn the skill at the same time. But the skill was probably harder than we could have anticipated, I think.
Yeah, it was kind of like we got those newbie gains, and then it was like a massive, I remember an enormous plateau with throws for me. But anyway, like you said, you concluded effectively, we had the opportunity to develop power, not necessarily develop a skill thoroughly enough. And that was the end goal. We had a lot of opportunities. I think we should have taken Loren Seagrave's offer. Yeah.
I think we could have gone way more out of our way to train with coaches and with other groups of people training. And I think that was probably because it was with our work, it was difficult to travel long distances to train, and even 45 minutes to an hour, we were literally fitting sessions in the morning at 6 a.m, 5:30 a.m, 5 a.m, and then I was getting the train to Birmingham, you were getting in your car driving to London. We were training as our lives permitted. I mean, if we were truly going for the cause, we would have given up our jobs. We would have started camping in the middle of Tudor Grange track, and we would have just trained there all the time. And then we would have cycled to clubs every day and trained with coaches. Thinking back, that's what we would have done. We would have designed our lives around it. And just the coaches at Tudor Grange weren't there. The clubs weren't we were adults. I was an adult that wasn't very good at athletics. You don't want to go
more than the coaches that are available to us, other than Tom Tellez and Loren Seagrave, who gave us those opportunities. I feel.
Yeah, that was amazing. That sprint conference we went to with Tom Tellez, so we were sprinting up and down the commentary, and they were trying to get him to stop. Like, Tom, we need to pack up now. It's like, we'll just do 2 more sprints in the conference room.
So Tom Tellez is or was Carl Lewis's coach, sprint coach. It was Carl Lewis, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Carl Lewis's sprint coach. I'm at a European speed and jumps conference. Get to the desk, and they basically say the spare seats, anyone can buy one. And luckily it's really local. It's in Coventry. Text Phil saying, I'm at this. Do you want to come? Pulls up. Didn't something happen where, because you bought it on the day and they still had something left over, you actually got it for £5 cheaper or something like that?
Yeah, I can't remember. It wasn't very expensive anyway.
I remember. Well, I was furious.
They actually paid me to come in.
We hear you're that decathlete.
He throws the discus out the back of their hand. But for 40 meters, that's impressive.
People laughed at Dick Fosbury.
They sure did. But he actually went on to jump really high.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we just didn't give it enough time.
Actually, we threw a discus so far we lost it.
Yeah. So at this conference, really good conference. I remember learning loads. I remember being suspect of one guy's methods, and I think you were as well. But Tom Tellez was there delivering, and his presentations were quite funny, weren't they? And I remember we spoke to Loren Seagrave at lunch, and he was really cool. Offered us so Loren Seagrave, was he the most decorated Olympic coach of all time, or something that had the most NFL players and Olympic medals associated in different sports? Something amazing like that.
Yeah.
And he basically offered the opportunity for us to go out to California, I think it might have been, and train with him, which we turned down, but I still
we only turned it down because we would have had to take a couple of weeks off work and spend all of the money to get there.
Yeah. Otherwise, it would have been great.
Which it didn't. And again, if you'd have spent 4 years training before that and you were already good, you'd have jumped at that kind of investment. But for us, really, the only investment we were willing to make was we spent a bit of money, but the investment we were making was our time.
Yeah, and the time was a lot. We gave a lot to the training. But that evening there was a dinner in the conference hall, massive conference hall. Must have been like 40 meters long, 30 meters long, about 30 meters, I reckon. And I think we spoken to Tom earlier, and we spoke to him about shot put. I remember we spoke to him about shot put, and then we were on a table with an FNTC.
Was that on stage? We actually went up afterwards to speak to him, and then you asked the question because I was too scared, and then you told him what we were doing. And in fact, you told him what we were doing, and you asked him if it was possible, and he said, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah."
Do you remember he went, "Yeah, I've done it."
Yeah, yeah. We're like, "Oh,
should we stop now, Phil? Should we get a burger?"
We just wanted to know if we could do it. We didn't actually want to do it.
So, I think we'd spoken to him earlier, and something happened that evening when he was like, "Yeah, or you're those guys that are doing this," or something like that. And he requested them.
I think we went over to speak to him again, didn't we? I think you had another question for him, or we asked him something, and about sprinting.
Asking questions.
What's that? You always liked it.
I've always liked asking questions.
I think it came from that. Well, that's what I remember anyway. I remember, we were talking to that S&C coach. Was he in hockey?
I thought it was football.
I can't remember what sport he was, but yeah.
And then moved all these tables he requested that they move all these tables out of the way. Did we take our shoes off or something like that? I'm in jeans. I just remember I was in jeans and a shirt.
Yeah.
And then gets us doing like an hour of sprint reps and technique in this conference hall. People start joining in with us. And I remember I clinch onto this. I hold this point close to my heart and will forever say this as a coach. But Tom Tellez said I had good running form.
Yeah.
I remember being like, "Yes, you might be faster than me, Phil." But what's the actual?
I remember him shouting pointers like leaning forwards and drive the arms.
Arms. He loved arms.
Use like speed comes from arms, power comes from legs. But the one thing that was really ingrained in me was that he kept just shouting to people that he thought he'd just go, "Yes, you've got fast twitch muscle fibers. Yes, you've got." And then for someone else, he'd just be like, "I'm not sure you've got it."
I forgot.
He was talking about someone's DNA. Like what? Yeah. Like, you can't become fast now because I'm sorry, I don't think you've got enough fast twitch muscle fibers.
He was literally so blunt, wasn't he?
Yeah, but we were fine. We both had fast twitch muscle fibers, so we were good.
It made me think of Dave, our coach, and Nick from college basketball in terms of no.
Can't coach you. Yeah.
You're lost.
It was a strange mindset. that we were going through, because it was like, for me, I just actually wanted to see what it felt like to train as a full-time athlete and go through it, because I'd never really done it. Wanted to feel what it was like to do it. So I wanted to try and get into that mindset. And to get into that mindset, we had to tell each other and ourselves that we were definitely going to make the Olympics in 4 years.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what was the point? And we had to tell other people that, which made other people think we were idiots. And obviously they were proved right. And obviously it came up in my brother's best man speech last year.
Yeah.
But we had to tell ourselves that. And I was trying to learn what that mindset was to become really good at something. And I think we did that really well for the first 18 months. We were amazing at it. And we were fully committed to putting the time in, putting the effort in. We worked like super hard. I now know what it's like I now think I know what it feels like to achieve something. Like, to achieve something really good, you've got to put all of your time into it, and you've got to work like fucking hard. And I think that's what I learned from it. It's just, if you want something, you need to be thinking about it 24/7. I had my goals. I remember printing them off. Each event, I had them on my wall. I had a piece of A4 paper with my next target on my wall. Every morning I'd wake up and look at it. I think I kind of read about that beforehand, like that you have to think about this. I read The Secret, and the secret is like, you have to basically think about something for it to happen. I remember thinking, that kind of makes sense. Like, if I want to pick up my phone, I have to think about picking my phone up, at least subconsciously, or that I want to do it to pick it up.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's the same with wanting to get to the Olympics. Like, you have to think about getting to the Olympics. Otherwise, you're not going to get to the Olympics unless someone else is thinking about it for you. But no one else is thinking about it for us. We're like, right, I'm going to get to the Olympics. And you have to think about that every day. And you have to believe it's going to happen every day. If you don't believe it's going to happen, then each second you spend working towards it isn't going to be very good. Even if you get into that habit of going to training, we're at training, but if you don't believe you're going to do it, your mindset's down.
Are you going through the motions, or are you actually committing?
Yeah, and you have to do that for years. And I think you probably could do it in 4 years if you spent 4 years doing that. But you have to be in that mindset for like 24/7. And actually watching The Last Dance recently with Michael Jordan just again was like, well, this is the winning mindset. Like, forget about his leadership skills, which I know were like amazing leadership skills. It's just he wanted to win, and he knew what it took to win. He knew that he had to become a leader to win. He knew that he didn't care. He wanted to win so much that he didn't care if people hated him. Which is that's like the key. I've always been a person, I like have this need for people to like me, like probably a lot of people.
I think most people have that,
a normal personality. But Michael Jordan wanted to win so much that he didn't give a shit if people hated him, if his friends hated him, if his teammates hated him, if his family hated him. He was like, well, I know this is what it's going to take to win. So this is what we're going to do, and I'm a great leader. And I'm going to get you to do it as well, even if you don't want to do it. So he was the winner, and he had the mindset 24/7. But then he was the leader that put that mindset into everyone else when they didn't want to do it. When Scottie Pippen didn't want to do it, when Dennis Rodman didn't want to do it, he was like, "You're going to do it because I want to win."
Yeah, and it was interesting because obviously there's been loads of controversy since we first discussed Last Dance. So many people saying this isn't what happened and it was tailored by Michael and stuff like that. But I think if you remove aspects of the story and focus on what you've just said in terms of his drive and his commitment to achieving greatness in a sport or in any skill, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that teaches a lot of in terms of actually just need to be the thing you want to be. You have to live it.
Yeah, you have to be thinking about it all the time, like constantly. You have to be laser focused on what you want to achieve, and you need to believe that it's possible. Like it was really I think in the first year, we definitely believed we were going to make the Olympics. We were like, we think it's possible. In the second year, we've kind of, 80% there. And then towards the end of the LRC, we're like, well, I'm 50-50 and I'm not going to gamble 50-50 for the rest of my life. But you have to be able to imagine how you're going to get to this endpoint. Like how Michael Jordan had to imagine that he could win the championship. He was like, he's imagined it. He's thought it in his head. He's been creative enough to think, this is where I want to be. I've gone back and he's worked backwards and gone, right, this is how I'm going to get there. I need to make sure I get everyone else there at the same time because I can't do this on my own at a certain point. He's thought of this. And he's up to then every day he's stuck to it and going, yes, this is how I'm going to do it because every day he wants to win that championship.
It was unbelievable. I don't really care in terms of how much of it was a bit of spin, but it was unbelievable to see him talk and try and get an understanding for his mindset. Like he really didn't care, did he? He didn't care upsetting anyone.
Yeah. And I think, so I also read Phil Jackson's book, 11 Rings. Like I was reading it at the same time. So I had Phil Jackson's point of view as well. So I kind of feel like it, and he was exactly the same. He actually, when he came in, they won it in their first year, I think. Yeah. In Phil Jackson's first year of coaching. Yeah. And he basically told Michael, like, you can't take over games. You have to get everyone else and join the triangle offense. The triangle offense is the key, but you can't just take shots. Everyone needs to be open because even if you're not going to give them the ball for them to take a shot, people need to think that they're going to take a shot so that they can go and be. So, and he managed to convince Jordan that was the way to do it. And he obviously had this great leader that he believed in. It was like, okay. And he could follow them. But yeah, and I think in the book, what I got across from the Lakers story was that when they won their first championship, Shaq and Kobe, Shaq actually just relaxed. I think he put on a load of weight in the off season because they won their first one. And actually, he'd only been thinking about constantly for like your entire career. You think about winning the NBA championship, then you win it. You're like, oh, well, I've won it. But Kobe was different. Kobe was like, well, I want to win. I want to beat Jordan. So I want to win 7. So he was already thinking about the next one. He came out ready for the second championship, but Shaq was like, come on, man. I think I've seen an interview of him actually saying this. Don't quote me on that, but I think I've seen an interview of him saying, come on, man. We've just won one. Let's just relax a bit.
Man.
That's the feeling I got from the book. And then that's what I think is so great about Jordan and Kobe is that they set their sights on winning the NBA championship. And they're like, actually, probably they did it. They were like, no, I want to be the best of all time. And that means I've got to win multiple championships. I've got to win as many as I can.
Well, I remember us speaking to Paul Hibbert and him saying, because he missed out on 2 Olympic teams by 1 place. And he said the reason he missed out on the Olympic place, both of those occasions, was that he said he wanted to make the Olympics. Instead of I wanted to win gold at the Olympics. He was like, if I'd said that I won gold at the Olympics, I'd have made the Olympics. But instead I aimed
because he was reaching. Yeah. Because you're probably going to fall a bit short.
Yeah.
So Kobe fell short of winning as many championships as Jordan. Jordan didn't win as many championships as Bill Russell. So I guess everyone falls short.
Yeah. How many has LeBron got?
3. 3 got. He is, but he also won it with 2 different teams, and like that Cavs team that he won the championship with. Because I think people forget, like he had Kyrie Irving, but I'm pretty sure Kyrie Irving was injured in the finals, or at least he became injured in like game 3 or something, and so I think he actually closed the championship without him. I think, but that team is just insane, and you see him. Well, they got to the finals how many times? Like 6 times in 6 years with that Cavs team. The year he leaves, they're like the second worst team.
Yeah.
He still gets to the finals without Kyrie.
The player is amazing. The guy is absolutely amazing.
He's just making it. And I think, the same thing about leadership. like knowing that he needs to make his teammates better. I've seen an interview with LeBron when he was like 16, and they ask him. It's really famous, actually. I think they ask him about pressure. Oh, do you feel pressure? Because he's a 16-year-old kid. He's about to go into the NBA draft. He's like, nah, I don't feel it. I've been having pressure since I was like eight years old or something. And he's known since he was young that he couldn't do everything himself and he needed to pick his teammates up. He's known that for a long time, whether he learned that from his coaches, whether he learned it from watching Michael Jordan and Kobe as they picked their teammates up. But yeah, he's a fantastic, I think he's a fantastic, like, on-court leader, training leader. He's like having a second coach on your team. Who's also the best player in the world.
You need that combination, I think. I think in terms of team sport, but actually just training groups, you need one person that stands out who will convey the message that the coach wants in a manner which the team understand, or the training group understand, and it's sometimes maybe a more emotive message.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, because it comes from someone who's doing it.
Yeah, I suppose it's that association thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's one thing I didn't really think about it until, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Didn't really think about this like team sport leadership. Yeah, and I'd led teams and basketball teams. I've been captains of teams.
Yeah,
I've coached basketball teams. I just thought it was the coach's job to lead, and actually when I was playing, I didn't really think about winning that much because I just wanted to play.
Yeah.
And it shows in like some of the we won a few games. Like at college, we didn't win that many games. At university, we were like an okay team, but we weren't the best team. We got promoted one year, but we didn't really. I don't remember thinking, "Oh, I want to win every game because I want to win this league." When I was playing football, I just wanted to play football. And I think no one really. Before each game, it was just like, it felt like it didn't need to be said. Like, of course we're going to play football and we're going to win, or we're going to try and win. But actually it needs to be said.
That's that winning mindset, isn't it? That's what differentiates.
Yeah. And that's one thing I think. I think it can be taught. You just need to be reminded every time that you want to win. Yeah. Why you want to win. Why it's important.
Surround yourself with people and images and tangible things that you can associate with that.
Yeah.
So fast forwarding them, because we've moved through Decathlon, touched on Last Dance, which is definitely a documentary I think everyone should watch, whether or not the accuracy can be kind of questioned.
And even if you don't like basketball, I've had friends that hate basketball and hate the NBA and have loved the documentary.
It's amazing, isn't it? The way it's filmed.
Yeah.
It also made me pick up a glass of bourbon or scotch every Monday night.
And smoke six cigars while you're watching it.
Yeah, I didn't go that far, but I was like, I'm just like Mike. I'm not influenced by the TV.
the new like Mike advert.
Cool. I think it's at this point we should really cut. We've been speaking for like an hour and a half, Phil. So whilst you're looking for Villa's next fixture to stay above the relegation zone, we've discussed mindset. We've discussed how our mission, Dream Decathlon mission, kind of opened up our eyes and made us think a little bit more about the necessary mindset. And you really interestingly brought up The Last Dance, Michael Jackson's Last Dance. That's something else. That's staying in. You brought up Michael Jordan's Last Dance. No, Last Chance. Why am I calling it The Last Dance? Isn't that a 90s hip-hop film?
It is. No, it is Last Dance.
Yeah.
The Last Dance.
It is, yeah. Man, I'm all over the place. Right. That's
what they called the season.
Yeah, that's right. So we are touching on mindset. I would love to hear your thoughts, if we get you back and to discuss habits and, as a busy professional now, training and how you fit in training and how you maximize your opportunities, really. So,
yeah, sounds good to me.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm in.
Ace. Thanks very much for joining us, Phil. Everyone, thank you very much for listening to or watching the Performance Physique podcast. You can catch us on Instagram at performance_physique. Phil, make sure you're looking at that right now. Type it in. And follow us on Facebook. Just type in Performance Physique or head to our website, www.performancephysique.co.uk. Thank you very much for watching. I'm out. Cheers, Phil.
Thanks. Bye.
Hey, I just want to quickly jump in here. Thanks very much for watching and listening to this first episode of Season 2. Remember to follow us on social media. If you have any questions, drop us a direct message or email info@performancephysique.co.uk. Take care.